everyone for the fourth edition of our retrospective prospective series. This time we have Professor Meenakshi Jain, whose body of work of her lifetime and her current research and the future directions we are going to be talking about. We have divided the retrospective prospective session for Dr. Meenakshi Jain into two parts. The first part we are having today, we are focusing completely on Ayodhya, and we have two illustrious speakers who are joining her. A senior advocate, former additional Solicitor General of India, Sri P.S. Narasimha, and also the working President of Vishwa Hindu Parishad, Sri Ashok Chowguleji, are with us here today. We will start today's session with a small shloka from Sri Rama Stotram, the first padyam, and after that a quick kriti on Sri Rama before we start the event. I request Trisha and Isha to start their performance. And I will share on my screen the lyrics of what they're singing with the meaning, so people who are listening to them can understand what they're singing. I request all the speakers to turn off their videos and keep themselves muted. I request all the panelists to switch on their videos. Yeah. Namaste, everyone. Welcome to the retrospective prospective session on Professor Meenakshi Jain. Today's event is a very important event. This is planned, in fact, to coincide with the August 5th Bhumi Puja, that is going to happen at the Rama Janmastan in Ayodhya. And Professor Meenakshi Jain's work on Ayodhya played an important role for the verdict, and it's a happy coincidence that we have actually planned to do a retrospective prospective session with her during this period, and we thought it is very appropriate to do it on this Sunday, just a few days before the Ayodhya event. What is happening in Ayodhya and what we have achieved in Ayodhya, and what our illustrious panelists here, the speakers here, have achieved leading from the front, is really great. And it probably will take a few more years for us to really gauge the importance of what they have achieved, and the impact it is going to actually have on our civilizational revival. This is a struggle that has been going on since 1528, when the temple was demolished. For 200 years, there was no attempt even possible to take it back. And only when the Holkars attempted to take back Ayodhya, there was even some sort of a possibility that opened, which of course was not realized. In 1857, coinciding with the Great Rebellion, of 1857, there was an attempt made, which again was not successful. And only after 70 years of independence, this has been achieved. So today we will hear from Meenakshi ji about the historical details that were presented in the court, negating all the lies that were put forward by the Marxist historians and the Islamist litigants. And also what she has discovered in her research about the Rama worship over the centuries, over the millennia, in fact, and the importance that it holds for the Indian population as a whole. We will also hear from Sri P.S. Narasimha Garu about the case itself, a brief summary of the verdict, about the history of litigation on this matter, who were the litigants, what were the primary evidences that were presented, what were the arguments that were presented, and what were the counter arguments we presented, and of this nature. And we will hear from Sri Chowguleji about the history of Ramajanma Bhoomi movement, what has gone into it, how has it gone from one stage to the other, and what we have finally achieved, and what has gone into achieving what we have finally achieved. Quickly, we have already sent an article to most of you, giving the biodata of the speakers. But I will share the biodata of the speakers quickly after Sri Harikiranji, our founder of Indic Academy. I request Sri Harikiranji to say a few words about Indic Academy and the retrospective prospective series that we are doing. Thank you, Harikiranji.
Jai Shri Ram. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Srinivas was talking about it, and he was saying it was a happy coincidence. I believe it's actually a divine intervention that this event is happening today. We were scheduled to do Meenakshi ji's webinar last weekend, in fact, a few weekends back actually. And for some reason or the other, it was getting postponed. We didn't know why. The things were getting postponed. And we were also planning to do the webinar as one single event. Then our Agra convener, Vikas, he called me and he said that, look, we want to do one webinar with Meenakshi ji. Then it struck me that perhaps we should make it into two parts. Part one is dealing with Ayodhya, and the second part with his balanced body of work that she has done. And then we thought that we should curate it with Narasimha Garu, who is our well-wisher, Ashok Chowgule Garu, who is also very, very deep well-wisher. And they both readily agreed. And this is how we are. So I truly believe this is a divine intervention. And I'm grateful to Bhagavan Ram for this event. I wanted to just take a few minutes about the retrospective prospective series. These are actually coming from a legacy partnerships that we are building with various scholars. And as Srinivas has said, this is the fourth such event that we are doing. We have earlier done with Balagangadhara, we have done with Michel Denino, and we have also done with Vishwa Adluri. Our primary purpose in these partnerships is that when all these scholars retire at the age of 80, and when they look back, they should think of their legacy in three forms. One is a digital legacy for all the talks and courses. The second is the print legacy, the books and the papers that they publish. And the third, which is the most important, is the human legacy. What we are trying to do is to see that all these venerable scholars live with us for hundreds of years through their Guru Sishya Parampara, through the Sishyas that they create. And what my appeal and our appeal to you, to the people who are listening or tuning in, is that understand from these scholars, learn from these scholars, work under their tutelage, and we would be most happy to provide scholarships, research fellowships, so that their legacy can continue beyond us, beyond our generation. This is the simple premise. We are, during the coming year, every month we are planning to do, there are so many of our scholars whose legacy needs to be preserved. And so therefore my appeal to you is to reach out to your friends and encourage them to work under the tutelage of all these scholars. Meenakshiji's body of work is immense across several, starting from how the foreigners saw us, from that series to Sati, to Ayodhya, to the flight of deities. Her work is immense. And there's several things that one can carry on. In fact, we have recently announced a book called, for fictionalizing her book, Flight of Deities, because that's an academic book that has told a lot of incidents in the past where our temples have been raised and people have preserved the vigrahas, taken the vigrahas, protected them, and reinstated them elsewhere. Now, these are people who have emotions, who have bhakti, and their stories need to be told. So we need to imagine those stories. We need to conceptualize those stories, because those stories also will transform us. And Avtans, our national convener in USA, is leading this project. We have announced this project, and whoever is interested, please do read The Flight of Deities, get inspired, and then transform that inspiration into stories, which we would be happy to publish in the form of a book. I have 3 more messages. We have recently established an advisory council, a venerable set of scholars. I would request you to look at our website. We are building the governance structures. We are shortly going to establish a governing council also. An academic council is in place. We have a wonderful set of conveners, city conveners all over the world. Then we have a set of board of directors. Then we have platform heads. So we're building a structure in such a way that this is truly becoming an institution. We have recently announced Adharam Fund. And this Adharam Fund is, you see that a number of dharmic scholars, academics, artists, and activists, authors are all affected by COVID. COVID is affecting us. It's no longer a statistic somewhere in the newspaper. It is somebody close to us who is suffering from COVID, who are dying from COVID. And these scholars, these dharmic people who are working to preserve, protect, or promote our dharma, their legacy also needs to be continued. So if any of of anybody who is affected, and this fund is for 1 crore, we have established this fund, and we would like to see that their children's education is not suffered, and we would be providing scholarships. So this is the second message that I wanted to leave with you. And the last one is that we have just concluded. This year has been very good, because we did the Oneness Festival in April for 1 month to celebrate Shankar Bhagavad Pada's birthday. And then we did the Global Yoga Festival for 41 days. And now in August 15th onwards, for 4 weekends, we are launching Namaste 2020, a Utsava of our soft power. So our director for Center for Soft Power, Vijayalakshmi Vijay Kumar, is curating a fantastic festival. It will be across 4 weekends. So please do register for that and participate. And with these few words, I thank you very much again, P. Narasimha Garu, Ashok Chaule Garu, and Meenakshi ji, for all your indulgence and blessings to Indic Academy. Thank you all for registering and participating. We look forward to a fantastic session ahead. Thank you, Srinivas. Thank you, Vikas.